Have you ever walked down a street you've traveled 100 times, believing nothing could possibly go wrong? For most people, home is where danger ends. For one family, it was where the nightmare began. Before we begin, if you enjoy suspenseful crime stories inspired by fictional investigations, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Now, let's begin. On the evening of October 18, 2019, the quiet town of Millhaven looked exactly the way it always did. Small cafes were closing for the night. Parents were calling their children inside. Street lights flickered to life one by one. It was the kind of town where people greeted strangers with a smile and neighbors still borrowed sugar from each other. Violent crime was almost unheard of. That was why no one imagined that before midnight, every police officer in town would be searching for a single missing girl. 12-year-old Lily Harper had spent the afternoon celebrating her best friend's birthday. There had been cake, music, board games, and endless laughter. At exactly 6:45 p.m., Lily hugged her friend goodbye. "I'll text you when I get home," she said with a smile. Her house was less than a mile away. She had walked the same route dozens of times. Her parents weren't worried. Why would they be? The streets were familiar. The weather was calm. Nothing seemed unusual. As Lily walked along Cedar Street, she listened to music through one earbud, leaving the other ear free just as her father had taught her. She waved at an elderly couple watering flowers outside their home. A jogger passed her with a friendly nod. Everything about the evening felt ordinary. But sometimes, ordinary is exactly what evil waits for. Less than 2 blocks away, a dark gray delivery van sat parked beneath a broken streetlight. The engine wasn't running. Its headlights were off. From the outside, it looked abandoned. Inside, someone was watching. Watching every person who walked past. Waiting. Patiently. Minutes later, Lily crossed the intersection and continued toward the pedestrian bridge that connected Cedar Street with Oak Avenue. She never noticed the van slowly pull away from the curb. It stayed behind her at a distance, not close enough to make her nervous, not far enough to lose sight of her. At exactly 7:02 p.m., Lily disappeared from public view as she entered the bridge. It should have taken less than a minute to cross, but she never came out the other side. Back at home, Lily's mother was setting dinner on the table. Her father looked at the clock. "She should have been here 5 minutes ago. Probably stopped to talk to someone," her mother replied. Neither of them sounded concerned. Not yet. 5 more minutes passed. Then another 5. Her father picked up his phone. No answer. He called again, straight to voicemail. A feeling he couldn't explain settled deep in his stomach. He grabbed his car keys. "I'm going to drive her route." His wife forced a smile. "I'm sure you'll find her halfway home." He nodded, but he didn't believe it. As he drove slowly along Cedar Street, every passing second felt heavier than the last. He reached the bridge. Nothing. He checked the nearby park. Nothing. He drove around the neighborhood twice. Still nothing. At 7:41 p.m., he called his wife. His voice was shaking. "She's not here." Within minutes, neighbors left their homes carrying flashlights. Teenagers searched the basketball courts. Parents checked nearby stores. Friends called each other hoping someone had seen Lily. No one had. At 8:03 p.m., the first patrol car arrived. Officer Daniel Brooks had responded to dozens of missing child calls during his career. Most ended with relief. Children wandered off. Phones died. Plans changed. He hoped this would be another one of those nights. But as he listened to Lily's parents explain the timeline, something felt wrong. Children rarely vanished on busy streets filled with homes and traffic. Someone should have seen something. Police immediately began retracing Lily's route. A K-9 unit arrived before 9 p.m. The search dog quickly picked up Lily's scent outside her friend's house. It followed the trail along Cedar Street, past the grocery store, toward the pedestrian bridge. Then suddenly, the dog stopped. It circled the same patch of pavement again and again before refusing to move any farther. Officer Brooks stared at the ground. There were faint tire marks, fresh, almost as if a vehicle had stopped there only hours earlier. The officers photographed everything. It wasn't much, but it was the first real clue. Meanwhile, detectives began collecting surveillance footage from every business along Lily's route. Most cameras showed nothing unusual. Customers entering stores, cars driving by, people walking dogs. Then, shortly after midnight, a detective rushed into the temporary command center carrying a laptop. "You need to see this." The footage came from a small hardware store located just 50 yards from the bridge. The timestamp read 6:59 p.m. Lily appeared on screen. She was walking normally, looking at something on her phone for only a second before putting it back into her pocket. 3 seconds later, the gray delivery van entered the frame. It slowed, almost crawling. The driver's face couldn't be seen through the windshield. The van disappeared from the camera's view. Lily followed only moments later. Neither of them ever appeared on the next camera positioned across the bridge. The room fell silent. Detective Sarah Bennett replayed the footage again and again. Then she paused. There. She pointed toward the passenger side door. A strange symbol had been painted near the handle. Not a company logo, not a license number, just a small white raven. It was unusual enough to stand out, but common enough that no one immediately recognized it. Detective Bennett leaned back in her chair. "If that van belongs to our suspect," she paused, "it's only a matter of time before someone recognizes it." What she didn't know was that someone already had, and they were too afraid to tell the police. If you're enjoying this fictional crime thriller so far, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more stories like this, because what happened next would turn a missing persons investigation into the biggest manhunt Millhaven had ever seen. Volunteers gathered at the community center, waiting to receive search assignments. Some carried flashlights. Others carried bottled water, blankets, and printed flyers bearing Lily's smiling school photo. No one wanted to believe the worst. The hope was simple: find her alive. Detective Sarah Bennett stood before a large evidence board inside the command center. At its center was a still image taken from the hardware store's surveillance camera. Lily, walking toward the bridge, just behind her, the gray delivery van, and on its passenger door, the mysterious white raven symbol. "It's too distinctive," Bennett said. "Somebody has seen this van before." Within hours, police released a digitally enhanced image of the vehicle to the public. The town responded immediately. The tip line exploded with calls. Some claimed they had seen the van near schools. Others believed they had spotted it parked outside shopping centers. Most of the tips led nowhere, but every single one had to be checked. By late afternoon, investigators had already interviewed more than 60 people. None of them could identify the driver. Then, just after 5 p.m., the phone rang again. This time, the caller refused to give their name. The voice was shaky, almost whispering. I think I've seen that van before." The dispatcher immediately transferred the call to Detective Bennett. "When?" she asked. "A few weeks ago." "Where?" "Old Mill Road, near the abandoned textile factory." "Did you see the driver?" There was a long silence. "I wasn't supposed to." Before Bennett could ask another question, the caller hung up. The number couldn't be traced. Detectives didn't hesitate. Within minutes, several patrol cars headed toward the abandoned factory on Old Mill Road. The building had been empty for nearly 15 years, broken windows covered with plywood, rusted machinery left behind, nature slowly reclaiming what people had abandoned. As officers searched the property, they found no sign of Lily, no gray van, no suspect. But something else caught their attention: fresh tire tracks. Unlike the old weathered marks scattered across the property, these were recent. Very recent. Officer Mark Ellis knelt beside them. "The rain stopped around midnight," he said. "These came after that." Detective Bennett followed the tracks with her eyes. They disappeared behind the factory, ending near an old loading dock. Hidden beneath loose pieces of cardboard, investigators discovered a child's pink hair clip. It matched the color Lily's mother had described during her initial interview. The evidence team carefully photographed it before placing it into a sealed bag. Back at headquarters, forensic specialists rushed to examine the clip. Everyone hoped it would contain DNA, fingerprints, anything. Hours later, the results came back. Only Lily's DNA was found. No fingerprints. Whoever had handled it had been careful, very careful. That discovery changed everything. This was no longer believed to be a random crime. The suspect had planned ahead. Meanwhile, the public continued searching. Hundreds of volunteers spread across forests, riverbanks, hiking trails, and empty fields surrounding Millhaven. Churches opened their doors to grieving families. Restaurants donated food. Businesses closed early so employees could join the search. The entire town refused to give up. Yet every hour that passed without finding Lily made hope a little harder to hold on to. Then, another call came in. This one wasn't anonymous. It came from 17-year-old Ethan Morris. He had seen the news and recognized the white raven symbol immediately. Detectives met him at his family's home that evening. Ethan looked nervous. "I didn't think it mattered," he admitted. "But now," he swallowed hard, "I think I made a mistake." Detective Bennett leaned forward. "Tell us everything." Ethan explained that 3 nights before Lily disappeared, he had been riding his bicycle near Riverside Park after basketball practice. As he passed the parking lot, he noticed the same gray delivery van. It wasn't the vehicle that caught his attention. It was the driver. The man appeared to be watching children playing on the swings. Not talking, not using his phone, just watching. Ethan remembered thinking it felt strange. As he rode past, the man slowly turned his head and stared directly at him. "It gave me chills," Ethan said quietly. "So I left." "Can you describe him?" Ethan closed his eyes. He looked about 40. Short, dark hair. Heavy beard. He wore a dark work jacket. And he hesitated. "I think he had a scar above his left eyebrow." Detective Bennett quickly wrote down every detail. It wasn't enough to identify the suspect, but it was the most complete description investigators had received so far. Before leaving, Bennett turned back toward Ethan. "You did the right thing by coming forward." Ethan nodded. "I just wish I'd done it sooner." That night, detectives searched every registration for gray delivery vans within 100 miles of Millhaven. Hundreds of names appeared: mechanics, delivery companies, construction businesses, private owners. The list seemed endless. Then, one registration stood out. A gray delivery van, recently repainted, registered to a small property maintenance company that had unexpectedly shut down 6 months earlier. According to state records, the vehicle had never been sold. Yet neighbors insisted the business owner had disappeared nearly a year ago. Detective Bennett stared at the file. Something wasn't adding up. If the company had closed, Who was driving its van? And why had someone gone through the trouble of repainting it, only to leave the strange white raven symbol untouched? The answer to those questions would uncover a secret that had remained buried for years, and bring detectives face to face with someone who had been hiding in plain sight all along. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There's much more to come, and the next chapter changes the investigation forever. And that's where today's chapter comes to an end. At this point, detectives had more questions than answers. Who was driving the gray van? Why did it bear the mysterious white raven symbol? Was the anonymous caller hiding something? Or were they afraid of someone? And most importantly, what really happened after Lily stepped onto that bridge? As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a secret that would shake the entire town and revealed that this case was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. But that's a story for the next episode. If you want to find out what happens next, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. And if you enjoyed this fictional crime thriller, leave a like on the video. It really helps the channel grow and lets us know you want more stories like this. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Based on everything you've heard so far, who do you think is behind Lily's disappearance? Do you think the gray van is the key to the mystery, or is someone trying to mislead the investigators? Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll be reading as many of them as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter, where the investigation takes a shocking turn.